Phoebe golparensis, known as chong in Chen dialect, are evergreen trees that are native to the region, as is in the entire northeast India. Also known as Assamese teak or bonsam in Bengali. This much sought-after timbers have now become threatened species. Phoebe golparensis belongs to Lauraceae family and native to the Indian subcontinent. They are considered one of the most durable varieties of tree for log drum making. Laboriously hollowed out from a single tree trunk, Kum is an excellent specimen of the Konyak skill in woodwork. Carved at one end with animal motifs, symbolic of their characteristics like courage, strength, or fighting prowess, a long slit on the top runs down the whole length of the log so as to reverberate when pounded at with wooden dumbbells. The workmanship is massive in form and scale, yet its crude-edged beauty has a geometric sensibility, especially designed to create martial drumbeats. They are not only magnificent in style and treatment but have an awe-inspiring girth and scale, overlooking all else with their immense visual appeal. Log drum pulling is labor-intensive, and to minimize this tedious and monotonous act, mesmerizing rhythmic songs are introduced. They work in team, alternately pulling in unison, singing away with poetic lyrics that were passed down by generations of menfolk. In this call-and-response recitation, the poet articulates a verse and the rest repeat a response, uniting them through their enchanting rhythms. Its rhythms resonate through the annals of history, carrying messages of joy, survival, and spiritual connection. The Pa had the most elaborate and impressive of wood carvings with distinct Konyak architectural styles. The artistic merits of the wood sculptures and the quality of carvings differed, but the peculiarity of Konyak carvings lay in great naturalism and left ample scope for the imagination of the artist. The typical Konyak wood carving motifs were abstractions of mostly animal forms. Elephants, hornbill, and Mithun constituted favorite motifs, each almost a signature of Konyak art form and can be seen in their magnificence and variety. A powerful symbol of wealth, prosperity, and fertility. Wood carving is one of the oldest arts of humankind, and the Konyaks have a rich tradition of it that has its origins in an animistic past. Old wooden arts that survive today reveal how our forefathers have engaged in utilitarian woodwork for ages. Given the relatively rapid rate at which wood decays in most environments and their sensitivity to fire, water, bugs and fungi, there are only a few isolated ancient Konyak artifacts remaining. A complete revival of this art form is near impossible today, and it remains representational than functional, for which our culture was known for. Hence, major portion of this art is lost and symbolism remains only at theatrical and aesthetic levels. Pa is oftentimes synonymous with dormitory, and rightly so, but it was really a center of learning where life skills were passed down from one generation to another and molded young men into responsible and disciplined citizens. Its old charm and usefulness deteriorated gradually as Konyak society begins to embrace new belief system and as new institutions for learning emerges with our acquired way of life. The drumming of kum was not only restricted to create martial music during festivities alone, but serves numerous purposes. At a time when there was no concept of timekeeping, the young men of the pa took daily turns, like modern-day bell ringers, keeping the inmates of the dorm on time. The first beat of the day, kumshuan at dawn, was a wake-up call, and the last beat of the day, yipling kum, calls for a fire out in the pa. Sounding of the log drum could mean a good harvest, a successful raid, an imminent danger, or signify a bad omen. Each occasion has a unique beating pattern best known to the inhabitants. It was a quick and efficient way of communicating as the hills echoed with the beat of the drum. From announcing the birth of an heir to mourning of the death, from merrymaking and festivities to raising an alarm of an enemy attack, drumbeats resounded when fire broke out or when wild animals were sighted. Even temporal eclipses of the celestial bodies like solar and lunar pay heed to the beats of the kum. Today, kum, the much-revered PA system of yesteryears, is reduced to a cultural souvenir from the past, a manifestation of the beliefs and traditions our forefathers once stood for. It is an attempt to keep the symbol of the past alive and incorporate into the ways of our present. Konyak's history was scripted in the wood carvings of yesteryears, of war exploits, feasts, and myth. They speak of a generation that understood the land and the forest and had a simple pride in their civilization. With changes in the social context, the craft has developed an economic avatar which pays lip service to traditional motifs but is completely disconnected from its past form and meaning. There is a revival of sorts in some recent architecture which seeks to mimic the symbolism without its context. It even changes material at times, as the wood carving style is translated into concrete and stone expressions. What now remains as mute testimony of the past is only a tiny glimpse into a once magnificent tradition that struggles for survival in a new world order. All cultures are inherently predisposed to change, and that is inevitable. The old ways no longer seem to work, and the new ones are only partly understood. There is constant culture shock in response to the new reality of dealing with the rapidly changing world. We pause a moment to reflect on one such fabric, the monumental building tradition of pa, that once defined Konyak society, even as we try to make sense of our historical journey.